Hello and welcome. My name is Sativ. 6.0 has come out today, and you guys are curious as to what's going on in this patch in relation to rogues. I've been really focused on level 100 PvP, but I'm going to use my wisdom to help shed some light into these changes so that you guys will understand how they affect your class. So what you can expect to see in this video is information related to 6.0. We're going to be talking a little bit about the changes to the game, how gearing and itemization will work, removed skills from the rogue arsenal, rogue diminishing returns, and a little bit more about the game in general. From there we'll move on to talents and glyphs, talk about talents that have been nerfed and glyphs that have been changed, and then we'll cover a little bit about assassination, subtlety, and combat, talk about how the gameplay works specifically for each specialization. For starters, we're going to focus on changes to the game in general, and the most noteworthy one will be the stat squish. So over the course of Mists of Pandaria, our stats kind of got out of control. Health pools were at 500,000 and we could hit for 300,000 in a couple seconds. However, in 6.0, your stats have been squished down significantly. The bonuses granted by all your armor pieces have been lowered a lot. Your health pool's only around 70,000, but your other stats like your critical strike chance, your mastery, it still remains sort of the same. One thing worth noting is PvP power has been removed, and the concept of resilience has been removed as well. Alongside these changes, hit and expertise are now gone off your gear, and pieces that previously had hit and expertise now have haste, so you just gained a bunch of free haste. That pretty much sums up the gear changes for level 90, as you don't have access to the level 100 set bonuses until you're wearing Primal Gladiator gear. Let's go ahead and look at some of the skills that have been removed. First one on the list is Dismantle. Dismantle is the disarm effect that rogues have, but alongside the removal of Dismantle, all disarm effects in the entire game have been removed. Disarm Trap somehow also made the cut, and I think Expose Armor is gone. Alongside this, Master Poisoner has been removed as well. Mind-numbing Poison has also been removed, and we no longer have access to Shadow Blades. I know a lot of people are going to miss it, but honestly guys, it's good in the long run. Cooldown stacking just isn't all that fun. Another change is Tricks of the Trade no longer increases the damage its target deals. This is one of those changes that have been implemented to avoid cooldown stacking and overall decrease the burst damage in the game. Now when you log in, you might notice that a lot of passives are missing from your spellbook. That's because things like Energetic Recovery and Find Weakness, for example, have been merged into the skills which they affected. This was done in order to clean up your spellbook and try and make it look a little cleaner, although it will confuse a lot of you when you first log in. So don't worry, things like Find Weakness, Energetic Recovery, Master of Subtlety are all still there. They are just in the tooltip of the abilities which they would have otherwise affected. Our final change is Swiftblade's Cunning now grants 5% haste and multi-strike instead of 10% attack speed. Now let's move on to the diminishing return changes for rogues. The only thing you're really going to have to worry about is if you're playing with a druid, because Incapacitating Roar is now a gouge effect instead of Disorient, and Cyclone now shares Diminishing Return with Blind and Fear effects. Let's wrap this segment up with a game mechanic change, and that mechanic is how combo points function. Now, previously rogues could only hold combo points on a single target, but now, whenever you switch targets, you'll have combo points on all of those targets. Combo points are now on the rogue, so to speak, so you're freer to make quick switches with your combo points, as you've seen a kidney shot my focus target without having to redirect. This is mostly a quality of life change for rogues, and also affects feral druids. There's another change in regards to how the game functions, and that's all your damage over time effects and healing over time effects now update dynamically. So if I apply a Rupture and then I have my proc trinket proc, as I did here, my Rupture will benefit per tick from the bonuses, but when the bonuses fade, the damage on the Rupture will go down per tick. Alright, so that about sums up what's been removed and changed when it comes to our abilities from Mists of Pandaria over to 6.0. Let's talk about some of the good changes. Cloak and Dagger now works with Shadow Dance, which is pretty awesome, allowing Subtlety to teleport around all ninja-like again. Another change that was implemented is Ambush is now usable from in front of your target, as well as behind. You can ambush from anywhere, and the restriction on Backstab has been loosened, so you can backstab from a pretty wide angle. There's still that dead spot where you can't quite backstab. The rest of the changes are very spec specific, so I'll be covering them later on in the video. For now, let's transition into some of the changes to talents. The first talent change that's pretty groundbreaking is how Subterfuge functions. Now, Subterfuge will give you access to your stealth skill set for 3 seconds after breaking stealth. As you can see, I'm visible, but I can still utilize my stealth abilities for that 3 seconds. Another nerf that was caught is Burst of Speed now costs 30 energy, up from 15. What this mostly does is make it so if you're chasing after somebody, you basically spam your whole energy bar away. But if you're just trying to escape a player, you can use it conservatively and still get the burst of speed to line of sight and catch with stealths. Paralytic Poison has been replaced with a talent, Internal Bleeding, which causes your kidney shot to also deal damage over time. For certain specs, Internal Bleeding can deal crazy damage. I know at level 100 as combat, Internal Bleeding deals the serious D. Certain abilities have also caught various nerfs, like Deadly Throw now only interrupts on 5 combo points, Cheat Death now only triggers from 7% health down from 10, and Leeching Poison's instant shiv effect has also been nerfed, but the damage aspect has been buffed a little bit. Dirty Tricks remains the same, Prey on the Weak hasn't been changed, and various other talents that I haven't mentioned have pretty much remained the same as well. Let's move on to the next segment, our Glyphs. Now, we don't have access to all of them, as some of them require researching Warlords of Draenor stuff, which I don't think Scribes will have access to on 6.0 release, so we can't get Glyph of Energy, Elusiveness, or Energy Flows. But what we do have access to is things like Cheap Shot, Blind, Hemorrhage, Faint, all the old things that we're used to, so at this point at level 90, not a whole lot has changed when it comes to your glyphs. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about how each spec has changed. One thing that is definitely on the list for Subtlety is Rupture now deals very good damage. I know at level 100, Rupture is around 30% of your damage in PvE, which is a lot, and keeping Rupture up on your target in PvP is also very important at level 100. So I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb here and say that Rupture at level 90 will also be important. Now there's a weird little multi-strike mechanic tied to Sinister Calling, which you're not really going to have to worry about in this video because you don't have much multi-strike at level 90. And Sanguinary Veins bleed damage or whatever has been decreased, but our damage is balanced around these changes, so I wouldn't freak out about them. Nothing has really changed gameplay wise for Subtlety, other than the fact that Rupture's damage is now a lot higher than it used to be. Combat hasn't seen very many changes other than the fact that Revealing Strike can no longer be used to advance your Bandit's Guile. Before you could use Revealing Strike over Sinister Strike because it was a little bit cheaper and it helped you advance Bandit's Guile quicker. You can no longer do that due to the fact that Bandit's Guile is only triggered from Sinister Strikes. Other than that, there hasn't been a whole lot that changes until you get your perks at level 100. One thing that's notable is Killing Spree no longer deals 50% more damage from all of your things, so your auto attacks and your mastery procs and poison procs will deal normal damage while Killing Spree is active. So it's more important now than ever to use your Killing Spree in red buff, which is Deep Insight, instead of just using it at some other opportune time. And finally, let's talk a bit about Assassination. There's 3 things that you'll notice at level 90 that will directly improve your performance. The first one being Rupture now generates energy every single time it ticks versus a poison target. Wound Poison now deals more direct damage than Deadly Poison. Deadly Poison is still more damage overall, but Wound Poison dealing more damage makes Mutilate a little bit more of a bursty spec. And Envenom increases your poison application rate by 30% instead of 15%, which is a pretty good buff. While that wraps up all there is to know about level 90 PvP for you guys, all the gameplay you've been seeing from me is level 100, so as level 100 you have access to all the perks, things like Empowered Envenom, Improved Slice and Dice, Enhanced Vendetta, stuff like that you won't have access to until you're level 100. But a lot of things really haven't changed when it comes to how your specs work, honestly. Other than Assassination, when it gets max level, it has a passive Slice and Dice. You don't have to put it up. And when you use Vendetta, you get a Force Crit. Combat has 20% more damage and Deep Insight. Subtlety has a longer Shadow Dance by 2 seconds, and Fan of Knives actually gives you a lot of combo points if you hit a lot of targets. So, those are a couple changes that each spec is missing, but other than those things, you know, the specs are going to be performing similarly in gameplay, not necessarily in damage and viability, because I have not spent much time on the 6.0 testing realm. I've been highly focused on level 100, so I'm going to be learning just as much as you guys will when it comes to how rogues perform at level 90 in this patch. Well, that wraps up the 6.0 breakdown. If you guys are interested in some level 100 content, that's all this channel is going to be focusing on when it comes to the guides from this point onward. So I hope you've enjoyed your time at level 90, I hope you found the information in my past videos helpful, and most importantly, I hope you enjoyed this one, because there's a whole heck of a lot coming our way. Warlords of Draenor brings us 3 strong specs to play competitively in PvP, and I'm excited to lead you guys headstrong into the battle with the best knowledge available on YouTube. Until next time, my friends, I want you all to stay sneaky, and most importantly, I want you to hit up live servers with a positive mindset, ready to rock in this new patch. Take care, my friends.
Good Gaming, an e-learning and social networking platform built exclusively for gamers and designed to turn you into an esports champion. We give you the tools, resources, and support to game better. Instructional videos and e-learning guides give you access to powerful strategies and the secrets of the pros so you can dominate your opponents. Our exclusive mercenary system gives you access to personalized support or offer your own services to the highest bidder. And compete in exclusive Good Gaming online tournaments to win cash and prizes. What are you waiting for? Become a Good Gaming member today. Good Gaming, revolutionize your game.